Hey guys, Silver here, and if there's one thing I love about the Sonic series, it's the large diverse cast of characters, as well as the fact that throughout the series, you get to play as a majority of them. So I thought it'd be fun to rank every playable Sonic character from worst to best, in terms of how fun they are to play as. Some ground rules are that they have to be playable in a mainline platforming game, and they have to be playable in the story, so no multiplayer characters. Coming in at number 18, we have Big the Cat, who's playable in a total of 2 games, Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Heroes. As much as I love Big the Cat, as a playable character in SA1, the fishing mechanics are frustrating and not fun at all, and I don't really want to see him in a playable role again, unless he's a part of Team Rose like in Sonic Heroes, or his fishing minigame from Sonic Frontiers Returns, where he's the one fishing this time. Coming in at number 17, we have Team Chaotix, which are only playable in one mainline game, that being Sonic Heroes, but they did make their debut in the spin-off game Knuckles Chaotix. Now I love Team Chaotix as characters, they're such a fun group and I absolutely would love to see them in future Sonic stories, but when it comes to their only major role, they have the worst team in Sonic Heroes despite still being fun, but on top of that, I don't really care that much if they're ever playable again as much as I just want to see them in the stories. Coming in at number 16, we have Rouge the Bat, who is playable in a total of 3 games, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, and Sonic 06. I like Rouge, she's a cool character, and I always like seeing her in Sonic stories, especially ones that feature Team Dark, but I don't really care if she's playable or not, unless she was playable alongside the rest of Team Dark. I do like her treasure hunting levels in SA2, but they're not as good as the ones Knuckles has, and she's straight up awful to play as in Sonic 06, but Team Dark as a whole is great in Sonic Heroes. Coming in at number 15, we have the Avatar, who is only playable in Sonic Forces, and I really like the idea of creating your own Sonic character, but in execution, the Avatar isn't really fun to play as, and the selection of animal breeds and their designs left a lot to be desired. But they are higher than the other characters because I'd really like to see the Avatar return and be more fleshed out, as well as the fact that there are some pretty fun outfits you can customize your character in. Coming in at number 14, we have E123 Omega, who is playable in 2 games, Sonic Heroes and Sonic 06. Now I really like playing as Omega in Sonic Heroes alongside Shadow and Rouge, and he's surprisingly one of the better characters to play as in Sonic 06. He's just not that high because he hasn't been playable that much, which is a shame because Omega is an awesome character, and his arsenal of weapons have so much potential. Also, this is random, but I thought a missed opportunity would have been to have him and Tails playable alongside classic Sonic and Forces, because I just think that team up is really random and funny. Coming in at number 13, we have E102 Gamma, who is only playable in Sonic Adventure 1, and despite only being in 1 game, Gamma has such an interesting and memorable story, and his shooting gameplay is really cool. I also really like the boss fights Gamma has with his robot brothers. Coming in at number 12, we have Mighty the Armadillo, who is playable in Sonic Mania, and this once obscure character was a great addition to the cast, and his hard shell protecting him from spikes as well as his ground pound attack was really useful. And coming in at number 11 is Ray the Flying Squirrel, who is also playable in Sonic Mania, and is another great addition to the cast with his unique flying ability that once you master can gain some serious speed and shortcuts, which are really fun to pull off. It's a shame that Mighty and Ray weren't playable in Sonic Superstars. Speaking of superstars, coming in at number 10 is Trip the Sungazer, who is playable in Sonic Superstars, and I love Trip. She has such a cute design, and it was a fun surprise unlocking a story featuring her, and she has the ability to double jump as well as climb on walls, which is really fun to use. Wasn't fun fighting that terrible boss fight though. Coming in at number 9 is Dr. Eggman, who is only playable in Sonic Adventure 2, where he features shooting gameplay similar to Gamma in SA1, where Eggman's controlling a mech, and these stages are just as fun as Gamma's stages, but more fleshed out, and it's just really cool being able to play as a series antagonist for once. Coming in at number 8 is Amy Rose, who is playable in a total of 9 games, most notable being Sonic Origins, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Heroes, Sonic 06, Sonic Frontiers, and Sonic Superstars. Despite games like 06 where she's awful to play as, and Sonic Frontiers where she has a really dumb moveset with her tarot cards, Amy is usually really fun to play as, whether it's in the classic games where you can use your Pico Pico hammer to attack enemies, or it's in Sonic Adventure where you're running from E100 like you're in a survival horror game. Coming in at number 7 is Cream the Rabbit, who's playable in a total of 3 mainline games: Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 3, and Sonic Heroes. I love Cream, and playing as her is so much fun since she's way overpowered, being able to fly like Tails and use her pet Chow Cheese as a weapon. I really hope she shows up in new games and becomes playable again, whether it's in a remaster of the Advance trilogy or she's in a new 2D Sonic game. Coming in at number 6 is Silver the Hedgehog, who is only playable in one mainline Sonic game, Sonic 06, which is unfortunate since Silver is not only my favorite Sonic character, but he has so much potential with his psychokinesis powers. Despite that, Silver is still one of the better playable characters in Sonic 06, since it's just really cool manipulating the objects around you to fight enemies and using your telekinesis to float around stages. But it just sucks that Silver is way too slow, and overall his abilities in this game just aren't that polished. I absolutely hope Silver gets another chance at a playable role, but for now I'm gonna have to rank him here. Coming in at number 5 is Blaze the Cat, who's playable in a total of 3 games: Sonic Rush, Sonic Rush Adventure, and Sonic 06. Even though Blaze is essentially just a Sonic clone in all of her playable roles, playing as her is straight up awesome. She's so much fun in Sonic Rush, and she's one of the best playable characters in Sonic 06. What makes Blaze stand out though are her fire powers and fire aura that surrounds her when running, and it looks sick. Blaze is just fire, and I'm surprised she hasn't been playable in more games, especially since she'd be perfect in 3D boost games. Coming in at number 4 is Knuckles the Echidna, who's playable in a total of 11 games, most notable being Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Mania, Sonic Frontiers, and Sonic Superstars. Knuckles is not only one of the most important Sonic characters, but he's one of the best to play as. Whether it's the amount of exploration you can do in the classic Sonic games with his gliding and climbing, the awesome combat you can do in Sonic Heroes with his Flames of Disaster, or controlling him in an open 3D space with treasure hunting stages. Sure, Knuckles has had a couple of bad gameplay roles like his one in Sonic 06, which was just as bad as Rouge, and he was pretty disappointing in Sonic Frontiers, but overall I love playing as Knuckles and I'm always happy to see him playable. Coming in at number 3 is Tails the Fox, who's playable in a total of 11 games, most notable ones being Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Mania, Sonic Frontiers, and Sonic Superstars. Tails is not only one of my favorite Sonic characters, but he's one of my favorites to play as. I just love his ability to fly. Whenever I'm playing a classic Sonic game, Tails is usually my go-to character. He also has a great story campaign in Sonic Adventure where he races Sonic and learns to become his own hero. I also really like his mech gameplay in Sonic Adventure 2, and it was awesome using his Cyclone mech again in Sonic Frontiers. The only game where I didn't like how he played was in Sonic 06, but other than that, Tails is awesome, and it's criminal that he isn't playable in pretty much every Sonic game he's featured in. Coming in at number 2 is Shadow the Hedgehog, who is playable in a total of 6 games: Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 06, Sonic Forces, and Shadow Generations. What more can I say that hasn't been said already? Shadow the Hedgehog is an amazing character, and every time he's playable in a new game, it's extremely hype. Even though he's a clone of Sonic in some games like SA2 and Forces, in games like Shadow 05 and Sonic 06, Shadow has awesome Chaos abilities like Chaos Control, Chaos Spear, Chaos Snap, Chaos Blast. Let's also not forget Shadow Generations, which introduces Doom powers like the Doom Wings. And on top of that, Shadow still features the same high-speed gameplay like Sonic alongside all these extra abilities. Also, even when Shadow is just a Sonic clone, it's still awesome being able to play through Sonic stages as its dark and edgy counterpart. Anyways, Shadow's the GOAT, and he better be playable in the Sonic Frontiers sequel. Coming in at number 1, it's obviously going to be Sonic the Hedgehog. He's playable in every game he's in, and most of the time Sonic is an amazing character to play as with his high-speed gameplay. Whether you're spin dashing or boosting, 2D or 3D, classic or modern, Sonic has had the most time to grow and evolve his gameplay, and I can't wait for his gameplay to evolve even more in the upcoming sequel to Sonic Frontiers. But anyways, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know who's your favorite Sonic character to play as.